What's happening, folks? Sean the Average Angler, and we are going to discuss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 baits for December. Now, one thing to keep in mind is it really helps to get out on the water, read the fish, see kind of where they're at, what they're doing. That would help narrow things down for one day to the next. But these baits are going to help you catch fish. They're staples in my arsenal. We'll pretty much have most of these rigged up at all times. Maybe not the particular bait I grabbed, but I'll go into that and explain it. So, number one is an A-rig. This is a non-bladed A-rig by Picasso. I also use the Yum. Both are pretty reasonably priced. When to throw a non-bladed versus bladed. If you have high bluebird skies, no wind, I throw the non-bladed. If you have overcast, wind, chop, stained water, any of that, that's when you want to add blades. I fish this is a 5-wire. I fish a 3-wire Yum Flash Mob Junior quite a bit. I just like less wires to get tangled and catch things on other than fish. And that way all the baits are hooked baits on a 3-wire rig. I've done fine on those, so I don't really feel it necessary to have a ton of rigs. Sometimes that may make a difference though. Next, and this is going to be if you're seeing fish that are somewhat up in the water column. Whoops. Is rip baits. Now, nowadays there's a lot of really good rip baits out there. Megavast Vision 110, now there's a +1 and +2 so that you can get deeper. Nishine Erie 95 SD. Now, one thing you can do as the water gets colder, and these baits are supposed to suspend. As the water gets colder, sometimes maybe they don't suspend or you need to get a little deeper. Nishine, and you can get these at Tackle Warehouse. Nishine here. They have a weight that hooks on to the split ring here and just dangles. It's a small weight. Works very well. If you watch some of Mikey Ball's fishing, he actually used those on the new bait Sanity swim bait, or maybe it was the Chad Sad. I think it was the bait Sanity, to get it down a little bit deeper, which is cool because you kind of get the bait to where other people aren't getting them. So it's a presentation the fish may not have seen for a while, which is always a bonus. Now, one of my staples, and those of you that watch my channel are going to know and expect this to be there, is going to be a jig. Typically, I'm going to throw a finesse jig. This one in particular is not a finesse jig, but one thing I would do, and you don't have to go out and buy finesse jigs or anything like that. This is a 3/4 ounce. I stick with a 3/4 ounce and a 1/2 ounce. I'll take the head of the bait, hold it up, and I will trim the skirt right at the back of the hook. I might even thin it out some. Take the scissors and I'll kind of cut around, just kind of slim out some of those, just to make it a bit more compact, not quite as bulky. I stick with natural colors. Depends on where I'm at. May mix in some black blue. I really like brown red and round rubber. Otherwise, they're going to be watermelon, green pumpkin type colors. This one's called Bass Candy. It is a watermelon, green pumpkin with some purple, red, and gold flake. The backup to that, if you really want to get finesse, or if you want a spotted bass or smallmouth fishery, this is a Yamamoto Hula Grub. Again, I keep this pretty simple. This one is a 330 green pumpkin with purple and copper flake. I will throw straight green pumpkin and cinnamon purple. It's pretty much the extent of it now. I have boxes with, 20 colors in them. It's just ridiculous because nowadays I stick to the general basics, right? Largemouth eat these also. Back in the day, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to mess around with it should the situation present itself, is throw the 1 ton this year. The 1 ton is a 1 ounce football head. We slide this bait onto. They're really good for like clay mud banks to kick up a little disturbance on the bottom, and very effective. Now, Finesse, I like a shaky head a lot this time of year, and if you saw my video from yesterday, a dart head, something I want to get back to using. The dart head's a little bit more for swimming on a steeper bank. Not swimming like we discussed. You kind of want it doing this, bumping bottom, come up, go down to the next rock, and so forth and so on. Other options, this is a really good worm, is a Z-Man, Fatty Z. This color in particular is the PB&J. Now, you can't, I don't want to say you can't. I don't use this on a screw lock head. It just will not hold the way I want it to. The best head I have found for these, and you can watch my video on shaky heads, is the Frenzy nail in 1/4 ounce, okay? It's got the right hook keeper for it, and it's got a nice stout hook. Any size kind of fish you want, that hook is great. You're not going to bend it out. The other option for shaky heads is the Robo Worm. Anytime I can get away throwing the 7-inch, I will throw the 7-inch. Especially in places like Shasta or Orville, spotted bass fisheries where most guys are throwing a 4.5 or 6. I'll try and see if I can get away with a 7. If not, downsizing's easy, right? Even if this is the only bag you carry, you just cut the worm, shorten it up. Now, I do want to say a couple things about the jig. Just some tips about the jig on really when this is going to be better compared to other times is around the full moon. 5 days before, 5 days after. When the full moon is around, jig fishing tends to be better. Next month we'll have a big one in January because that's the month you can possibly catch the biggest fish of your life. My biggest fish came on a full moon in February. It's not last. Here, let's save that one for last. Crankbait. It wouldn't necessarily be this one because this is a little wider wobble, but a crankbait can be a great way to pick off some bigger, more aggressive fish. My preference would more be the tactical crank by River to Sea. Doesn't run as deep as this, but it has a much tighter wobble. So you want a crankbait with a tighter wobble. The crankbait, you don't have to fish slow. And if it's not effective in the morning when you get out on the water, don't put it away. Keep picking it up from time to time and fishing it, because a lot of times, I know on Berryessa, the crankbait tends to pick up in the afternoon or as the day goes on. So just keep it in mind. Don't give up on it. Always have a crankbait tied on. And last but not least, and this has a lot to do with, again, using your electronics, even if you're on the shore, this is something you want to have, make a few casts in an area and put it down, because bigger fish will come up and suspend, especially in lakes where there's trout, kokanee, salmon. If they are looking for a meal every few days where they don't have to chase a lot of stuff around nonstop, a glide bait can be deadly. Okay, this is a S-Waver 168. You can fish this on a typical jig rod, something medium heavy to heavy. If you have something with a little more parabolic bend, that's preferred. You know, like a 7-foot 3/4 power type of rod, you can throw this on that. On a flipping stick, you can throw it on that. This time of year, I'd probably drop down to 15, 16 pound fluorocarbon. Your brand of choice. I throw FC Sniper, so it would be 16. S-Waver, very simple to fish. Cast it out, just slow reel it, and it's gonna do its S crank back to the boat. Now, one other thing, remember, it's winter. It can get cold. Not as cold as some parts of the country here in California, but it can get cold and things can happen. So dress warm, dress in layers, be prepared. If you drink coffee, have your coffee, maybe hot chocolate, whatever it is. Have a hot beverage, hot tea. It makes a big difference. And remember, we still have to hydrate in the winter. Whether we think we're sweating or not, our body is still dissipating water, and we need to drink water. So, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends so we can build the channel up. We are going fishing this weekend, so we will get to see pretty much all this in action, depending on what the fish are doing. Last time we went out, it was post front. It poured the day before, stormed, wind pretty hard, and then it was slick glass for the most part. This weekend, it looks like it's going to be overcast both days, so I'm expecting things to be a little bit different. We will see when we get there. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.